In this lesson, I want to show you a couple alternative syntax options that you may see in the real world when looking at other people's React code. So first up, we know now that props is an object of all the props that a child component is receiving from its parent, where the parent is rendering it. But other than that, props is a regular JavaScript object, which means we can use regular JavaScript features such as destructuring on that object. So for example, what we can do in our taco card is right here, before we return our JSX, is we can destructure the name prop or property from the props object. And that allows us to simply reference name down here below without needing the actual props prefix, right? I'm not necessarily saying this is the better approach, but I do know that especially when you get a lot of props flowing into your component and you might have a lot of JSX, sometimes it's helpful to destructure them all up top so you get a sense of all the data that you're receiving from the parent on one line, and you don't have to look at all those various prop references through a lot of lines of JSX. So this is just one option. As you also might be aware, we can actually destructure an object's properties directly in the function's parameter list. So another way of doing this is removing this line on line 5, and here where we are receiving the props object, knowing that we are receiving a JavaScript object, we can destructure right here in line in our parameter list. This is an ES6 feature that is not specific to React. And here, knowing that I have an object with a name property, I can simply take that name property off of the JavaScript object that is my very first parameter to my taco card functional component. So we're still getting an object being passed in here to our taco card functional component, and that is an object of props. And we're simply taking the name property from that object off, and it's now available to be used in line just like if it was a regular constant. It's the exact same syntax as we had a moment ago with the const keyword. It's just a little bit more automatic and spares us an extra line of code. So these are two examples of alternative syntax options that you may see in the real world, but they both accomplish the exact same thing. They're simply taking the props that we receive as object properties and now using them somewhere in the body of our component. All right, that's all there is to cover in this lesson, so I will see you in the next one.